Somewhere right now, a teacher is telling a class of 6-year-olds that chameleons change color to hide from predators. It's on posters, it's in kids' books, it's probably the first animal fact you ever learned. And it's wrong. Not slightly wrong, backwards. Here's the version everyone knows. A chameleon sits on a green leaf, it turns green. It moves to brown bark, it turns brown. Camouflage, on demand like a living cloaking device. It's a great story, it just isn't true. Chameleons are already camouflaged, most of the time without doing anything special. Their resting color already matches the environment they live in. Greens and browns and mottled patterns that blend into leaves and branches by default. They don't need to actively activate camouflage because they're built for it from birth. So if color change isn't for hiding, what is it actually for? The dramatic color changes, the ones that make chameleons famous, the electric blues, the fiery oranges, the sudden bursts of yellow and red, those happen for the opposite reason, not to disappear, to be seen. A chameleon flashing bright colors is doing the reptile equivalent of shouting. It's a signal, and like most signals in the animal kingdom, it usually means one of three things: I want to mate with you, I will fight you, or get away from me. Color for a chameleon is a language, and it's a language that has almost nothing to do with the leaf it happens to be sitting on. To understand why, you have to look at what's actually happening in a chameleon's skin, and it's stranger than most people realize. Chameleons don't change color the way you'd expect, by moving pigment around like ink and water. Underneath their transparent outer skin, they have layers of specialized cells. One layer contains actual pigments, reds, yellows, oranges. But the layer beneath it is the real secret, a lattice of tiny crystals arranged in a grid, spaced at a scale smaller than the wavelength of visible light. When a chameleon is relaxed, that crystal lattice is tightly packed. Tightly packed crystals reflect short wavelengths of light, blues and greens. When a chameleon becomes excited, agitated, or aroused, its nervous system relaxes that lattice and the spacing between the crystals widens. Widely spaced crystals reflect longer wavelength, yellows, oranges, reds. In other words, a chameleon isn't painting itself with pigment. It's tuning its skin like a physicist adjusting a prism, changing the literal structure of its surface to bend light differently. It's not decoration, it's optics, and the animal is doing it on command, through its nervous system in seconds. That's not a passive camouflage response to background color. That's an active broadcast system. A chameleon skin is closer to a message board than a costume. So where do you actually see this message board in action? Watch two male chameleons encounter each other on the same branch. They don't lunge first, they light up first. Both males will flush into their brightest, most saturated color patterns, vivid stripes, intense contrasting patches, colors that would be a death sentence if the goal were hiding from a hawk overhead. This is a warning display, and often it's enough. One male reads the other's colors, recognizes he's outmatched, and backs down, dulling back to a neutral pattern and retreating without a single physical strike thrown. Color isn't decorating the fight. Color often replaces the fight. It's a way of measuring a rival's confidence and condition without either animal risking injury. The brighter, faster, and more contrasted the display, the more dominant the message. Only when neither backs down does it escalate to actual physical combat, biting and shoving for a branch. But in most encounters, the color argument settles it before the physical one even starts. Color isn't only used to project strength, it also reveals weakness. A chameleon that's frightened, stressed, sick, or just lost a fight will often go dark, dull, or blotchy, the opposite of the vivid battle colors. Darker, muted tones are frequently a submission signal, a chameleon's way of saying, I concede, without needing to be attacked again to prove it. This is also why chameleons in captivity, kept under poor conditions, too much handling, wrong temperature, wrong lighting, often display persistently dark or dull coloring. It's not a random skin condition. It's the animal communicating distress in the only language its body has. Females use color signals too, particularly to indicate whether they're receptive to a mate, or once pregnant, to signal they are not, often shifting to colors and patterns that communicate don't approach as clearly as any physical gesture would. If the science is this clear, why does the camouflage myth still dominate what most people believe? Partly because it's simpler. Changes color to hide is a tidy one-sentence explanation that fits neatly into a children's book. modulates a crystalline lattice in its skin to broadcast social and emotional signals to other chameleons, does not fit as neatly on a page with a cartoon lizard. And partly because the myth isn't 100% disconnected from reality. Chameleons' resting default colors genuinely do function as camouflage, so people aren't wrong that color and habitat blending are related. They've just mixed up two different systems: the passive baseline color that keeps them hidden, and the active rapid color change that has almost nothing to do with hiding at all. So the next time you see a chameleon shift from green to a blaze of orange and yellow, you're not watching an animal trying to disappear. You're watching it talk. If you learned something you didn't expect today, that's usually a sign you were taught a fact that was one generation out of date. Subscribe if you want more of those corrected. The real biology behind the facts everyone assumes are already settled.